You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel. Clint, you're awfully smiley today.
I'm smiling. You know why I'm smiling? Here's why I'm smiling. Because I've already placed a lock of the week. I've placed the bet. The bet is down. And if you are in on this right now, I don't know how much more I could tell you. Get to the betting site of your choice and lock in Georgia minus 14.
I believe is what it's called. Yeah,
betonline.ag. Get over there right now and bet that line at minus 14 because it's only going to go up, y'all.
Has to, right?
Has to.
Does it have to go up? Has to go up. What if it goes down, though, Clint? I'll take out a second mortgage on my house. That's what I'll do.
Here's the deal. There's always money to be had somewhere. I got a pillowcase somewhere. I don't know where my wife hides it, but
there's always money in the banana stand. So you get over to the banana stand, you'll find something there.
You'll be just fine. Hey, if you haven't figured out by now, he is Daniel. I am Clint, and we are Locked On Bulldogs here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We don't take ourselves too seriously nor each other. We like to have fun on this podcast because we're not gurus or insiders. What we are fans. And this week is all the fandom that we can take and embody and saturate ourselves in. So get on for it.
Buckle up. It's going to be a heck of a week. It's our favorite week of the year. Okay?
Oh, hands down. I got a job in which I got to work some weekend time. I'm going to let you know right now, PTO has already been put in. I ain't doing no work.
It's like T's and P's to all of our employers the second half of this week because we're just going to be out watching. We're going to be watching old game film. We're going to be watching all sorts of shenanigans and nonsense. It is Florida week. Georgia was obviously coming off a bye last week, and so you might think we don't have that much to talk. Normally, Monday episodes, we recap the previous week's action. We'd be on here talking about Georgia's last game. Couple things happened in the NCAA that maybe we want to touch on, want to get to. And then, listen, Florida deserves all of your hatred. They deserve all of your animosity, just condensed right into a nice, tight little package. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. Glad that you're here. Subscribe on audio, wherever podcasts are found. If you're watching on YouTube right now, go subscribe to the audio podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, whatever is the podcast listening app of your choice. Go subscribe over there so you can listen on the go or whatnot. And if you're listening on audio right now, which many of you are still the primary way that people consume the podcast, pop on over to the YouTube channel and just do us a favor. Just click that little subscribe. Just give it a little click and maybe check out a few of the videos or whatnot. But if you subscribe over there, it really helps us out. Thanks for doing that. Email us, lockedonbulldogs@gmail.com. Kenny, shout out to you. We're going to get back to you. Kenny's going to send us some ice cream, Clint. He's got the flavors. He sent us a list of flavors.
I'm going right now. I'm going to look at those flavors.
Kenny about to get fired from his job for sending us free ice cream. It's fantastic.
I just realized I still don't know the email. So
Kenny, he was never going to look at those flavors. He don't know nothing about no email. Don't say. But you do. LockedOnBulldogs@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. And if you want to hit us up on Twitter, you can just find it at Dawgs Podcast, and we will be there to chat with you on there. All right, Clint, can we start here? It's not a Braves podcast. You know, that's great. There's great Braves podcasts out there.
Locked On Braves, good spot to go check out.
Sure. How about the Braves, though, Clint?
Eddie Rosario, Tyler Matzik, Freddie Freeman, Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley. I'm just all of it.
You said Tyler Matzik, and I blacked out. I've just come to. Have you said any other names yet? I don't know. I've lost you.
That man. Yeah, hold on. Let me just make sure I understand. There was a runner on second and third, and there were no outs. Daniel,
not an out to be seen. Not an out to be even heard from. Okay.
Okay.
He came in, struck out the side. Did you hear that ominous music? Halloween's coming up.
Just all up in here in these Tyler Matzik makes
we-
people scared.
We got music in the background. The more you know is coming up later. Don't worry about that. Okay.
Oh, don't worry.
That's enough Braves talk.
Okay.
Braves are in the World Series. T's and P's to all of our emotional well-being. Let's talk about the weekend of college football. Clint, what'd you learn? What'd you see? A lot of big-time action. Penn State, not good. Penn State, a pretender. A pretender, yeah. Clint. What else did you see from the weekend that was?
How can it not be spoken about first right out of the gates? Two things. Tennessee is, once they actually get a conditioning coach in there that can make them go past 30 minutes of game time, they're going to be somebody to contend with. And Alabama just refuses to play defense. Refuses. And I'm here for it.
How could you not be? It won't help us when we play Ole Miss in the SEC championship game, but yeah, Alabama's lack of ability to play defense is.
Y'all don't think that the Iron Bowl and I are going to have many bets when that game comes around? Watch out!
I'll at least be watching it. Here's what I took away from Clint. Ohio State, second best team in the country, probably the second best team in the country. I think that's fair to say. Would you say?
I agree wholeheartedly.
Who's the third best team in the country? Not the team that should be ranked third. Who's the third best team in the country? Nobody knows is the point.
No one knows.
Nobody knows.
Could you say Oklahoma? You can't say Oklahoma, especially after Caleb came in and didn't have a great showing.
Kansas almost beat them, Clint.
You can't say Cincinnati because they had a poor showing and they don't have the players necessarily. It's a developmental school. I get that.
And Indiana took them to the woodshed, Clint.
Okay.
And did you see what Ohio State just did to Indiana?
You can't say Michigan yet because they've had some close ones and they got that on the horizon.
Officially a fraud, Clint. Just write it down. Michigan is a fraud.
Iowa? Nope, not a chance there.
I mean, maybe the third best team. Like, we're not saying they're good. We're just saying, are they the third best team? Is Oregon the third best team in the country?
Who knows?
Who knows? Here's what I do know. I'm not scared of any of them.
Zero.
And Ohio State fans, you better just get all the narratives ready. Because at the end of the season, that's all you're going to have. Because guess what? Your team's not going to make the playoff. You're the second best team in the country, and you're not going to make the playoff because you're going to lose another game.
Yeah, you get 2 losses. You done. Like you don't get to go into the CFP.
That's a shame for you. Here's my final thought in this segment, and then we're going to bump it, and we're going to start talking about Florida as we should. My final thought in this segment is a bit of a public service announcement.
Ooh, Daniel?
Educational segment, the more you know. Let me say this. I'm going to say it kindly. No matter what we say on this podcast, somebody's going to be in the comments.
I don't think he's going to say it kindly.
I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say somebody's going to be in the comments and be like, this is a stupid take and whatever. It doesn't matter. If you are what I'm going to call excessively wrapped up in the narrative conversation, Clint. And here's the thing. I'm looking at you, Braves fans. I'm looking at you, Georgia fans. If you care about what the world thinks about your team more than you care about the games your team is winning.
There you go.
I just want to respectfully say you're not doing fandom correctly. That's not how you do it. So yes, everybody wants to be respected. Everybody wants to feel like, but Georgia fans already getting worked up obviously the we haven't played anybody narrative been over, been talked about.
Sure.
Georgia fans worked up about how we're going to win the national championship, going to feed it, and people are going to say it's a down year for college football, and they're going to make all these excuses. Please let that happen. Please let me listen to national media members saying Georgia didn't deserve to be the national champion that they weren't.
Sure.
Please let some guy from the LA Times talk to me about how the Dodgers were really the best team in all of baseball, even though the Braves are going to the World Series. That's good. You understand? That's not a problem. That means your team is winning the games. So that's just a little from me to you.
Okay.
Let's focus more on beating the crap out of teams on the field. And with that, we segue to the Florida Gators, Clint. We got a lot to cover on this game. But first, want to talk to you about this.
Prize Picks is fantastic for football fans. Have you heard about Prize Picks? Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Come on now. I know what I'm doing. I love it. Daniel loves it. We know you will too. Prize Picks is a leader in college sports daily fantasy. It offers more college football props than anybody else in the world offers. You get to pick any prop you can think of, yardage to touchdowns, even interceptions thrown, or how many quarterbacks Dan Mullen will try to trot out there on a given game. How many? 3, 4? I don't.
Take the interceptions thrown over this week for Emory Jones.
Oh, no. All the users right now that go over there and use the promo code LOCKEDON get 100% instant deposit match up to $100. That means you put $100 down, you get $200 right on top. Thanks to promo code LOCKED ON. You pick 2 to 5 players on the over-under projections, and you can win up to 10 times on any entry. And it's just you versus the projected numbers. It has an award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Go to prizepicks.com, use promo code LOCKEDON, or go to the App Store, download the app today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy.
All right, Clint. Just an initial preview. Not going to do an in-depth breakdown. We got some guests coming on the show this week. Excited about that. Big-time returning guests coming back tomorrow. So check back in for that. Excited for all those takes and thoughts. Maybe some new guests coming up later in the week. Who knows? All right. So let's get into this Florida game, though. It's obviously Dan Mullen versus Kirby Smart, and we made a living on this podcast. I wish we made a living on this podcast, but we actually have real jobs. But we hammered the narrative on this podcast until last year that Dan Mullen would never beat Kirby Smart while the head coach of the Florida Gators. And lo and behold, that was not true. Kudos to him. Kudos to them. They got the dub last year.
Sure.
We had 100 injuries. None of those are excuses. Who cares?
Nope.
The Dan Mullen, Kirby Smart narrative, though, is not going anywhere. One of them is a competent coach. The other is Dan Mullen. One of them sometimes beats good teams. The other is Dan Mullen. One of them never loses to awful teams. The other is Dan Mullen. One of them has a spouse that borderline assaults the players, and the other is Kirby Smart. So there's a lot of differences, a lot of ways we could differentiate. Where do you want to start this conversation? Do you want to start by talking about Florida's offense or Florida's defense?
Oh, Daniel, I want to start talking about Florida's offense, and I want to give you a number of the Florida offense. I'm going to run down the list, and I'm going to give you the rushing averages per rush of players on Florida. Okay?
Hey,
Now this is very.
We're going to jump into it. Here we go.
I want to jump right into it. Okay. The leading running back on their team, Emory Jones.
Yes. Thank you for saying it that way. He's not only the leading rusher; he's the leading rusher among tailbacks.
Correct. Okay. The wishbone was an offense in 1860. I mean, just out here, Civil War would wrap up.
If you ask Paul Johnson,
just do a nice little tea and crumpets and take a little football game. Emory Jones lining up back there. He is averaging 5.8 yards per rush. Malik Davis is offering us 5.5 yards per rush. Dameon Pierce is offering the Florida Gators 5.7 per rush. And then I have to add Anthony Richardson, 12.4 a clip.
Long legs McGee over here.
Long leg McGee. Okay, here's what I want to say. Here's the point.
Okay.
I want to start with their offense. I want to start with their rushing attack, the vaunted rushing attack that ran rickshaw over Alabama, averaging under 5 yards a carry. Now, Daniel, you and I have been on this podcast before talking about what we expected preseason given prediction of UGA running backs. And I remember at one point we had DeAndre Swift a couple of years ago, and we put the number at something like 6.4, 6.7. And we said to ourselves, will he get that? And I said, I don't know. It's gonna be kind of tough. You know, I think he might be 6.5, somewhere around that. That'll be an okay season. And he said, well, he better be, because that's what we expect every single year out of our running backs. Because we're a team that likes to rush, has good running backs. Florida over here saying that they are a good rushing attack, and nary, except for Anthony Richardson, which I'll get to in a moment, none of them are getting over 6 yards a carry. What they are doing is they are grinding out drives. They are slowly grinding drives down. And then on top of that, taking shots deep. Anthony Richardson's yards per attempt throwing, because he's a better thrower than Emory Jones, is 10.6 yards per attempt, where Emory Jones is 7.5. Here's what that means. Let me condense this all down.
Just say it again. 7.5 yards per attempt?
Emory Jones, 7.5 yards per attempt. Okay?
That's the stat.
If you adjust it and do some analytics, the adjusted yards per attempt is 6.3. So you take out some outliers, you take out some bad deep, all this stuff. Anthony Richardson, 10.6 yards per attempt, adjusted 9.6 for outliers. Okay, so both under 10. Here's what I'm trying to tell you.
Can I interject a comparison?
Please do.
Stetson Bennett, 12.1 yards per attempt. So if you needed a context, Florida fan, if you're listening and you needed a context, take Stetson Bennett, who is, you just decide how good of a quarterback he is. I don't want to put words in your mouth. You tell me. Good, not good.
Sure.
Competent, not competent. You're telling me that Emory Jones, the leading throwing tailback on their team,
correct,
who leads their team in passing yards by a tailback,
correct,
is averaging 7.5 yards an attempt?
That's what I'm saying, Daniel.
And Stets over here nearly double that?
So I think here's my point about their offense. It's bad. In a word, it's bad. They are grinding out these ground and pound, averaging clips of 4, sometimes 6 yards per carry, which we've said on this podcast. If you want to try to make your living, try to make your hay on making chunk yards against this rushing defense, like, that's on you. That's your own death that you're going to. That's the Kentucky self-imposed death march that they did against Kirby. Okay.
Sure.
Go for it, Florida. Have all you want with that. Then what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to hit a couple deep shots with Anthony Richardson, which I think we'll get back to at later this week. It's not accurate. He's only completing 56% of his passes. Emory Jones, 67% of his passes, which is markedly better from Anthony Richardson. Because
how about the fact that Emory Jones is completing, what was the number again?
67.4.
67.4% of his passes. How many of his incompletions have been caught by the other team, Clint? You need two hands almost. Almost all your fingers. It's 9. The answer is 9 if you're listening on audio. 9 interceptions on the year. This Florida offense is much more and a cloud of dust than the experts would have you believe. To your point, Clint, it's grinding out long drives. It's not a ton of explosive plays, as evidenced by the fact that Emory Jones is over here Grayson Lamberting his way down the field, completing a high percentage of his passes for 7 yards an attempt, and rushing. They're 3 of their 4 leading rushers averaging 5 or less yards per carry. Meanwhile, I mean, who do you think averages more yards per carry, Clint? Let's just go Stetson Bennett versus Emory Jones.
Rushing yards per attempt?
Rushing yards per carry.
Florida. You try telling us, okay? Tell us.
Just tell me. You tell me if Stetson Bennett's good or not.
But Daniel, I could tell you right here. He's averaging 7.8 yards per attempt rushing the ball.
Oh, is
Stetson.
that more or less than Emory Jones?
That's more, Daniel. That's more.
What about the throwing?
Two interceptions for Stetson. 2.
We already covered the throwing, so he's throwing for more. He's rushing for more. He's throwing more. He's throwing fewer interceptions.
69.5% completion. JT Daniels 76. Yeah,
he's throwing for a higher completion percentage, and he's throwing fewer interceptions to the other team. All of this is fascinating. Now, it's a grinded out, no explosive play offense, and let me just put it to bed. You're not going to do that against Georgia. What have we said is the one thing that you could maybe do against this Georgia team if you want to try to score some points? The thing that Kentucky decided to death march their own way down the field and never even attempt to do. What's the one thing that we said you could do? You could either call every trick play in your playbook. That's the first drive that Kentucky scored on.
Yep.
Or you can try to take some deep shots. Now, is Emory Jones man enough to take a deep shot in this game? Is Dan Mullen man enough to call a deep shot in this game?
Please do, because all y'all been waiting around. Our DBs have matured. They are there. I'm convinced this Florida offense is a poor man's version of Kentucky.
And you look at the stats, Clint, and you would say, well, that's ridiculous. Florida ranks 9th in total offense. Sure. Kentucky ranks 77th in total offense. And so how could you even say that this Florida offense is a poor man's version of Kentucky? And then you look and you see Florida Atlantic, South Florida, Tennessee. Can they stop anybody? Vanderbilt. Florida has simply – Florida fans trying to spin a narrative like Georgia hasn't played anybody. Florida is padding all these offensive stats because Dan Mullen loves his offensive stats.
Loves
the game against Kentucky. They won the game. Did you know that? They won the game against Kentucky.
According to Sun Metrics.
Congratulations on their 2-game winning streak against Kentucky because Dan Mullen's convinced. Florida pads their stats against these, equally, if not more so, no-name competition than Georgia has played. And yet, Georgia's offense, which I've heard is terrible, Clint.
Awful. One of the worst. Not explosive, just bumbles its way down the field.
What have we decided Florida's better at than Georgia so far offensively? What category was it that we came to that conclusion?
Daniel, you're confusing this with saying that we have.
Florida fans, please, in the comments, tell me objectively what Florida does on offense that's better than what Georgia does on offense. That's all I'm asking you to do.
By the way, no Florida fan will react because he said objectively, and please
use any data.
They
don't even run the quarterback better than we run the quarterback.
Nope.
And it's Stetson Bennett the 3rd, 4th, 5th. His dad could come out there and play. I don't know.
That'd be the 2nd, but I digress.
Okay.
We're going to come back to this. We're going to talk about Florida's defense because I hear it's a DBU over there, Daniel. I hear it's DBU. We're going to get to that after Daniel lets you know about Built Bar.
Yeah, let's talk about Built Bar because that's something that is real. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar on planet Earth. They are delicious. They are keto approved, high in fiber, high in protein, low in sugar. They're great for a meal replacement, post-workout, pre-workout, whatever you need on the go. Grab one, BuiltBar.com. You get a box. They come in a wide variety of delicious flavors. You can get a variety pack. You can get a single flavor, whatever sounds best to you. And enter the promo code LOCKEDON15. Longtime sponsor of the show, Built Bar, is going to give you 15% off your first order. Maybe you're new to the show. You haven't heard about Built Bar. It's the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. You're thinking to yourself, no, it's not. And I'm telling you, yes, it is. Try it and you'll see. BuiltBar.com. Enter the promo code LOCKEDON15 and you'll get 15% off your first order. All right, Clint. Florida has a defense, and
Sure.
You've been told that they are DBU. I've been told they have the best front seven in the SEC.
Ooh.
So where should we start there?
I want to start with their front seven. Daniel, let's talk about their front seven.
Okay, Brenton Cox, star player. On Florida's
sad we don't have him, Daniel. We are sorely missing him.
Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine? We might be able to generate some pass rush if we had Brenton Cox. Hold on. I'm getting something in my ear from intern executive producer Michael. Oh, that's right. We are leading the SEC in sacks.
Oh, okay.
So,
well,
Brenton
that's
Cox.
something.
We sorely miss you. My favorite Florida fan, just absolute absurdity, is the narrative. Have you seen this narrative on the internet? This exists.
Sure
if you're not on the internet, kudos to you. First of all, wonderful life decisions that you're making. If you're not on Twitter, social media, you're doing great. You're happier. But if you are, you've probably seen Florida fans who are legitimately arguing that Jordan Davis would not start on the Florida defensive line. Clint, are you seeing this? Have you seen it?
Oh, I have, Daniel.
It's a real narrative. They're trotting people out here like Gervin Dexter, Zachary Carter. I don't know. I don't know who else they're trying to talk to me about. But these are good defensive linemen. Don't get me wrong. Florida has a good defensive line. I wish I didn't have to get on here and berate them, because it would be nice to actually say this is the thing that Florida does well. But Florida fans, of course, are going to make it so that I have no choice to do that, because Florida fans are objectively the worst. Florida fans run onto the field, take the mustard bottle, and just squeeze it on top of the police officer's head. That's what the Florida fan does.
We need to be very clear. Tennessee is awful and horrible and should never be allowed entrance into a college football game ever again.
And that ranks them.
They're the second worst fandom in college football. Florida fan outshines them in every category of being the worst human beings possible.
With the fury of 1,000 suns, Clint.
Yeah.
Florida's defensive front versus our offensive line / run game / pass pro. Clint, your thoughts?
Here's the deal. You can go ahead and tell me all day long that they're going to get pressure on us. They're going to bring heat, yada, yada, yada. Here's where Florida gets its heat from the aforementioned Zachary Carter and Gervin Dexter. And you can try to throw in Brenton Cox, although his one sack on the year begs to differ on the one sack.
What? One sack?
Yeah. Here's the deal. You have to bring multiple angles to get pressure on this offensive line. They don't do that. Todd Grantham says he trusts these defensive linemen to get pressure. Okay.
How is it? We're 28 minutes into this podcast. We're just not bringing up the name Todd Grantham. Shame on us.
That's our bad. Look, this defensive line can't go chop for chop, can't go man to man against this offensive line. They're going to have to bring pressure elsewhere. And who do they have pressure wise? They don't have anybody in the linebacking position. They don't have a Nakobe Dean out there, Daniel, just waiting to come roaring down, rushing. Okay,
If they did, what are we going to do, Clint? You think we have anybody? I don't know, big and tall, athletic over the middle who might want to just catch that ball where the linebacker just vacated?
What if we had two of those people, Daniel?
Well, it seems twice as good, Clint. It seems almost double as good.
I can't listen to the Florida defense because, again, they had to be at home against Bama to stop Bama. and by stop I mean 31 points. Okay, so like
first of all, Bryce Young's first road game. You saw what happened on Bryce Young's second road game, right?
that didn't
Spoiler alert: Bryce Young's not good on the road. Bryce Young might be Bo Nix. Did I just create a narrative of Bryce Young is young Bo Nix?
Throw that out there on the Twitter sphere.
Look, I'm just going to see what sticks. I'm just going to throw some things out there. We're going to see what happens. Okay. Florida defensively, they shut out Vanderbilt. Kudos to you.
Sure.
Again, we've gone through the list of opponents. They held Kentucky to 20 points. I guess that's. I don't know. I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell you about this Florida defense. Do I think they are better than most of the defenses Georgia has played this year? Yes, I do. Do I think they are the best defense that Georgia has played this year? No, I do not. I don't think that they're nearly as good as Clemson.
Nope. Clemson, by the way, third best defense in all NCAA. Okay,
cool. What if I told you I don't think they're as good as Kentucky, Clint? I don't think defensively they are as good as Kentucky.
Nope.
And you saw what happened in the second half of that Kentucky game. Stetson got his groove back. All of a sudden, second, third quarter, we're busting off long runs. Stetson's finding the open man. And the offense just humming along. Again, for an offense that can't do anything, they can't score on anybody, they can't generate any points.
How many points are we averaging a year?
I don't know, 35, 38 points a game.
Oh, no.
But it's not 46 and a half against the likes of Rutgers and Indiana. So, I don't know.
38.4, which is 13th best in the nation, Daniel.
Wait, now. That can't be right. Guys, if we seem confident, there's a reason.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what the reason is? It's because we're extremely confident. Listen,
that's it.
It's a Florida game. It's Jacksonville. We get it. I don't want to hear it. This Georgia team is so much better than this Florida team. And they have not given you
level.
They've not given you any reason to think that they are going to play down to the level of their competition. At what moment this year have you seen the Georgia team play down to the level of their competition?
Uninspired against Vanderbilt. Nope. Oh wait. Okay, but maybe uninspired against Kentucky. I mean, that was a hard
scrappy
one.
Arkansas team there,
scrappy Arkansas. No, we put them away 4 drives in. Okay,
I just don't. There's no such thing as ghosts, George. I know Halloween's coming up. I don't know. I just don't know how to make it any more clear.
How much would you pay to choose Dan Mullen's outfit after the game to come in the press conference for Halloween costume?
I'll tell you this. I don't want that responsibility, Clint, because whatever I choose, not going to be as good as whatever he chooses, knowing that he picked it himself. All right.
It's literally the head coach. Literally.
We've got for a minute, for one more minute. We got a big week of shows coming up. If you're not already subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the audio podcast. We got guests coming on tomorrow's show. We probably have another guest on Wednesday. We might be dipping back in with another guest on Friday. So it's a big week of shows. We're going to be talking Florida all week long. The Braves are in the World Series. We're talking about the Dawgs. It's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Everything is right with the world. The Georgia Bulldogs are still the unanimous number 1 team in the country. And we're here for it every step of the way. So subscribe, comment, give us a thumbs up, leave us a rating and review, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
See ya.